Arizona's history is as rich and driven by the landscape as ours here in Montana. Yet Arizona has a very different climate and landscape than our peaked mountains and bountiful piles of snow. Arizona has a temperate climate compared to ours that is great for growing citrus and lettuce, but there are many similarities between our two states. We started comparing these similarities by different maps of Arizona. We made multiple different maps that highlighted themes such as climate, agriculture, topography, and tourist spots. Something that we noticed that even though our geography and climate are very different, one thing we have in common is that both of our states have many different Native American tribes and cultures.
Montana is home to 12 different tribes, and Arizona has double that in about the same amount of land. Arizona is only 33,000 square miles smaller than Montana. To compare, if you added Ohio to Arizona, it would be equal to the size of Montana.
We delved into many different parts of Arizona tribes, learning about their historical culture by creating dioramas with their traditional types of homes, but also focusing on their culture now by sharing their tribal flags, famous people from their tribes, and their agricultural contributions to the land. We also learned how to play traditional Native American games with Miss Orsman and Miss Charlie. We played a math game called Picaria and learned a few physical games as well. Arizona is the home of the Navajo tribe, and one of the largest contributions from the indigenous people to the United States was the Navajo Code Talkers' role in World War II. We visited many historical Native American sites, such as Montezuma's Castle, Wapaki, and Tuzagoot. The natives thrived in this environment, learning how to adapt by bringing in water to help feed their gardens. They learned how to use the steep cliff sides to build their houses and to use the earth to keep themselves cool in harsh weather. These sites were extensive and had so much history for us to absorb and learn.
So we are here at Montezuma's Castle. One thing that I think is really cool about it is how high off the ground it is. And what they use that for is like protection from floods. And most of this was already kind of pre-existing here, and they built off of the land. And I feel like it was pretty cool that they used their resources in that way.
As Western expansion happened in the United States and the natives were pushed onto reservations, the Old West thrived in the Arizona desert, much like it did here in Montana. Small mining towns exploded in population and turned areas of Arizona desert into bustling areas.
The mining towns brought many people to the west, lawmen, miners, and dreamers. This trend continued throughout Arizona's history, such as Ira Hayes, one of the code talkers who had his hands on the flag that was raised on Iwo Jima, or Geronimo, a famous native chief who fought for the liberation of his people. Arizona history is packed with so many different people and stories. We couldn't begin to list them all, but we took their stories and carried them with us on our journey into the Arizona desert.
Before we get into the gold rush, however, we should talk about the lawmen who settled in the desert, and the many people who played significant roles in shaping much of Arizona's history, such as the Earps, Doc Holliday, and Billy the Kid.
We learned about the quick draw shooting from Mr. Olson, which was going to be helpful in Mrs. Campbell's unit about Tombstone. Tombstone is the heartbeat of the Wild West, the famous shootout of 1881 at the OK Corral. There was more to the small town of Tombstone than the shootout, but that shootout became one of the most recreated moments in time. In just movies alone, it has been depicted 7 times. We, of course, had to have our own reenactment with Mrs. Campbell using our Nerf guns. It was utter chaos, and it was hard to keep track of who was on what team. That feeling carried with us when we were able to stand on the streets of Tombstone ourselves. The thrum of the Old West in our veins, watching for varmints to pop out around any corner.
The lawman on Tombstone settled the town, but there was always a ruckus when someone struck gold, silver, and turquoise. Miss McLean shows how to design, build, and build sluice boxes and tweak our designs to hopefully discover gold. We sifted, sluiced, and panned different types of soil during our treasure hunt and found plenty of fool's gold, which was the case for even those panning in Arizona. While we didn't strike it rich, we did find over $150 in real gold. As well, the hills of sand in Arizona might be overpicked for gold, but underneath the soil lay another treasure mine copper.
Copper is one thing that Arizona and Montana share, a pure earth-born metal that shaped the history of both of these states. Arizona's copper mines left a wake of ghost towns across the desert with the rise and fall of the mining industry. We were able to go inside the busy copper mine, take a tour, and learn about the history and legacy that copper has left on the Arizona landscape.
The copper and turquoise mines led to a boom and growth in Arizona, and as time tickled forward, so did these advantages. With the rise of the golden age of Hollywood, silent films came to Arizona. Many films used Arizona's lush desert landscapes as backdrops for their Western drama stories. Old Tucson has had over 500 films used its streets. We created our own silent films, mimicking the substance and tactics of the non-talkies and stared in them our stoves. Let's share our favorite pickle billow.
The Industrial Revolution spurred the rapid growth throughout Arizona, and in 1966, the Pima County of Parks and Regulations sold the 320-acre plot of BLM land to the Military Aircraft Storage and Disposition Center, which would later become the site of the Pima Air and Space Museum. The museum now houses over 400 airplanes with outdoor displays and dedications to Arizona aviation. We weren't lucky enough to be on the Wall of Fame, but we tried our hand at it at home. After we researched and designed a one-pager about planes we found in Pima Aerospace Museum, we designed and tested balsa wood gliders. Okay, some of us are better at plane design than others, but we had fun crafting our designs and seeing what flew and what didn't.
All right, we're with Haley here at the Pima Air and Space Museum. Haley, what did you learn today?
Today I learned that the B-29 Super Fortress carries over 2,000 bombs per flight, almost. And it was supposed to travel up to 350 miles, but it can only travel up to 300 instead of 350 because it's too heavy.
Nice, okay. Can you tell us what's your impressions of the museum?
I thought this museum was super cool because they have all of these remodeled planes, and it's not this is a private organization, I believe. So it's not like they are funded by the government. It's people just trying to take care of parts of history.
Okay, well, how about you, Logan? What's something that you've taken away?
Well, just the sheer amount of airplanes that are very similar but slightly different in the minuscule ways, but just about like anything else we build, there's slowly improve among things.
All right.
Along with the Pima Air and Space Museum, Arizona houses another secret under its soil. In 1963, 54 Titan missiles were housed under the soil in Arizona, Kansas, and Arkansas. These missiles were ready to defend our nation during the Cold War. These were ICBMs, which stands for Intercontinental Ballistic Missiles. Now only a single Titan missile remains from the original 54. While visiting the Titan Missile Museum, we were able to take a step back in time and see the massive 100-foot missiles up close and admire the technology that went into it. This missile was active from 1963 to 1987 and serves as a reminder of the United States' deterrence of nuclear war.
Okay. 3, 2, 1, launch. Okay, light turn on? Yeah. All right, guys.
When you combine technology and nature, you can get some of those powerful forces. Arizona is home to 11 hydroelectric dams, but these dams do more than just create power for the surrounding towns. They also house water and is essential for Arizona. We have a local dam that we were able to visit earlier this year, the Buffalo Bill Dam in Cody, Wyoming. This dam is used to help with irrigation for farming, so we have first-hand knowledge of how nature and technology can work together.
While the Union can create amazing things, even technology cannot cover up the natural beauty that is in Arizona. The Grand Canyon is one of the 7 natural wonders of the world. It is ranked number 2. The Grand Canyon was carved by the Colorado River over 6 million years ago. Its layered beauty of rock and fossils draw people from all over the world. Before the canyon became a national park, the natives saw it as a beautiful place to live and included it in their culture. The Hopi tribe saw the canyon as a gateway to the underworld.
I don't know. It makes it feel really small. First of all, because, just being able to see it down in there, and then it just makes you feel small. But it also is just a very amazing.
Mrs. Campbell led us on the journey of the Grand Canyon through. We painted oil landscapes of the Grand Canyon, but the painting could not get us ready for the true beauty that is Arizona. While we were in the field, we took the time to explore the different geographical features and natural landscapes of the desert. We visited the Sedona Desert where we saw the saguaro cactus, where these massive plants reach over 30 feet in height. We hiked the hills and through several nature paths looking at the indigenous flora and fauna.
Arizona's natural beauty and climate also lends to an amazing phenomenon. The warm, dry climate allows for a 50,000-year-old crater to stay in pristine shape. We were able to see the meteor crater, also known as Behringer's crater, and imagine what life was like when the meteor struck.
So we're at the Behringer crater, and I think it's very important to see it in person because you can really get the scale of the whole crater itself, and it's very, very cool. And this was my subject, so it's cooler to actually be able to see it in person and see how huge it is. There was a lot of things that I did see and discover, like the meteor itself crashed like 50,000 years ago.
The evolution of Arizona is very similar to Montana, with the West being the underlying heartbeat in both. Founded by hard-working, passionate people who wanted the best in the world for our future generations to come. That is something we could all relate to. Thank you for coming to support our in-field experience and journeying along with us.
This year was my second cross-curricular trip. I've gone to California and Arizona, and I've had some of the most fun times I've ever had. Not only are these trips super fun, but we also learn more than you never imagined. You can study and research something for hours and hours, but nothing is like going and seeing things that you've been studying all year. You really can't know everything about something until you get to experience it. This year's trip has brought me a couple of the most memorable times of my life. One of those times was our Sedona hike. The weather wasn't what we expected when we thought of going to Arizona. Even though it was cold and snowy, it was one of the most enjoyable times I've had during both of my cross-curricular trips. Another one of my favorite experiences from this year's trip was Pima Air and Space Museum. It was interesting to see all the planes and helicopters in person after researching in class. It truly is amazing to see things that we knew so much about from researching in class. There are also many things you can't learn by just researching. On both of the trips I've gone on, I've learned many life skills that I'll apply for the rest of my life. One of the most important things that I've learned is responsibility. You have to pay attention to little things that you usually never have to think about, such as cleaning up after yourself or remembering to get all your clothes out of your hotel room. By going on these trips, we have the opportunity to see and do things that we might never do again. Thank you.
As I stand before you today, I am filled with gratitude and reflection on the incredible journey we've taken together throughout my 6 years in this exceptional class. The cross-curricular trips we've experienced have been nothing short of transformative. They've taught us invaluable lessons in social skills, time management, and patience. Working collaboratively to tackle challenges has been a core part of our learning, and I believe it has prepared us well for the world beyond these walls. These trips have been more than just travel. They've been an opportunity to immerse ourselves in diverse cultures, savor new cuisines, and explore places we might otherwise never have discovered. Each adventure has encouraged us to enhance our time management and financial awareness, all while fostering a sense of independence. I still remember my 7th grade year stepping into this class with no idea what to expect. As the days turned into weeks and then months, the pressure eased, and I soon found myself on a bus headed to the airport and off to Boston, Massachusetts. Exploring Salem and learning about the witch trials remains one of my favorite memories
I'm shaking. Hello everyone, good afternoon. I am Miss Charlie, a math teacher from the Philippines. Let me read to you my speech. Last September 19, 2024, I arrived at Belfry, obviously late for a school year, but full of hopes to have a life reset as a teacher and as a person. I initially thought that being a math/physical education teacher who's teaching Filipino and some other Asian sports are the only thing that I could do. However, to my surprise, I saw international studies in my class schedule. Naturally, I was curious and asked Ms. Ramjrik, my housemate and our music teacher, like, what is this? So she gave me a brief overview and I was intrigued. But the real surprise came when Mr. Austin asked me if I would be interested in joining a trip to Arizona. My response was immediate, like, wow, for real? Why not? Of course. I will if I'll be allowed to. So, as I joined the 6th period class, I quickly found it fascinating, especially since the students were so engaged on hands-on activities, which I believe are crucial for effective learning. When I came, they were studying mining unit, and I was genuinely amazed when they managed to extract real gold or gold leaf on their activity. And it's my first time seeing like real raw gold, not gold jewelry. So, as someone who has always been focused on grades during my student years, I admired how the students took the initiative to regularly check their grades and ensure they stayed well above the required level to qualify for the trip. And actually, it showed their sense of responsibility. Every unit was captivating, and I was impressed with the creativity of the students. In December, Mrs. Orsman invited me to help with the diorama in Arizona tribe game units, which was such a fun experience and made my cross-curricular class even more productive. This cross-curricular collaboration not only made the lessons more fruitful, but also highlighted the importance of teamwork among teachers, which in turn positively affected our students' experience. Now, I want to express my deepest appreciation to everyone, especially the board members, administration, and parents who made this educational trip possible. Your support gave our students a chance to experience the world beyond the classroom. From waking up early, navigating airport and hotels, to getting on and off planes, practicing dining and social etiquettes, this trip was such a valuable learning experience. The students learned to follow rules, immerse themselves in new cultures, and explore history in corners in ways that textbooks don't show us. They practice doing math outside the four corners of the school, learn to respect each other's time and space, and develop skills like listen, staying on track of the trail, and how to stay calm when lost on a hike. Not that I'm saying I got lost in the Sedona hike. Most importantly, they gained an appreciation for the beauty of natural landmarks and the engineering of early civilizations. These hands-on experiences and life skills will surely stay with them and will serve them wherever life takes them in the future. With almost 11 years of learning experiences, I'm incredibly, yes, 11 years. I'm young. I'm incredibly grateful for the opportunities I've had as a newbie teacher in North America. Arizona is the first state where I first visited all of its major cities and attractions. I'll never forget sipping hot cocoa in Phoenix. Yes, no judgment. Filipinos love hot drinks even for countries for hot. We actually have coffees in the afternoon, scorching hot. That is normal. And experiencing nearly all 4 seasons in one state in 9 days. Like summer in Tucson and Phoenix, agree? I know. Fall in Tombstone and Bisbee, winter in Flagstaff and Sedona, and spring in Cottonwood. Like I told Mr. Austin, my favorite part of the trip was the Sedona hike. I know. Which, as to my first hiking experience in 30 years. I don't hike in the Philippines. It taught me so much more than I expected, both as a teacher and as an individual. If I'm lucky enough to be in the cross class next year and the following years, yes, I'm saying, if the still renewing, I'll be even more prepared and ready to contribute to more success of the cross-curricular program. I'm almost done. Allow me to have a special shout out to Ms. Campbell, who guided me throughout the class and the trip, Mrs. Orsman, for being a helpful unit partner and constantly reassuring me that I'm not her worst navigator. And Dr. Frankie, because I have motion sickness. Thank you, Mrs. Campbell. To Mrs. McLean, for being so cool and the old rose among the not so feeling old gentlemen. To Mr. Sullivan for his thoughtfulness. To Mrs. Austin for staying with the kids and my go-to floor in the building. To Mrs. Roderick for being my big sister far away from home, which has actually left me as soon as I got home last week. So I'm technically alone in Belfry. And of course, to Mr. Austin for being the best leader Belfry could ever have, right? So reflecting on my first year in Belfry, I've come to realize how unique this school is. It's not just the administration, the school board, or the incredible staff, but it's the entire community that makes Belfry stand out. The bond between the teachers, students, parents, and everyone involved is something special. In a world where education often feels mechanical and isolated, Belfry School offers a sense of belonging, a shared mission, and a purpose. Looking back, I am truly thankful that I chose Belfry over Denver. I'm supposed to be in Colorado right now. Finally, on behalf of the Belfry teachers, I want to extend a heartfelt thank you to the parents who trust us with their children's education. Your support is invaluable and makes a significant difference in creating the best possible educational experience for our students. And of course, to the students, thank you for your dedication and responsibility, especially during the trip. You were very nice kids during the trip. And Jody for being my, head counter. We, your teachers, are so incredibly proud of you. Seriously. Together, let us continue making more reading memories that we can use and reflect on in the next chapter of our lives. Maraming salamat in Filipino. Thank you very much.
Okay, so the premise of this cross-curricular trip is simple. Identify a theme that can be examined in an inquiry-based manner from a variety of disciplinary foundations. The theme, a state, of course this year is Arizona. The inquiry, a student-driven vehicle for independent problem solving. The disciplinary foundations, the various core subjects offered here in the middle of high school curriculum. That's a simple concept, but it doesn't answer the why, and why we should approach learning in this manner. Well, it can be fun and rewarding. It can be creative and productive. Students get a chance to build things and formulate questions, work independently, and work with peers, some of whom they meld well with, and others of whom can become a source of frustration. With that said, the overall goal of this form of learning is to build skills and self-confidence. Since it's schoolwork, many of the skills will be academic in nature. Writing with proper grammar and syntax, conducting research and citing sources, paying attention to rubrics and formatting requirements. However, many of these skills lie along what's called the executive functioning spectrum. Paying attention to and meeting deadlines, planning and executing a course of direction, evaluating progress and examining product with a critical eye, making independent decisions based on the best possible available information. These are skills applicable to life outside of the classroom, life in the world of work and adulthood, which all of you will soon be thrust into whether you realize it or not. And in a few years, when bills need to be paid and tires changed, and job applications filled. There won't be a textbook or a nagging teacher. There to help you. You'll have to ask the questions and find the answers yourselves. You'll have to carry out research and make hard decisions on the best course of action. You'll have to work with people who may be difficult at times. And you'll have to meet deadlines and take responsibility for your own shortcomings. You got a taste of these types of issues on the trip. Waking up early, taking care of your own things, doing laundry, interacting with strangers, budgeting money, being away from home on your own. These are useful experiences. Likewise, getting a chance to experience the living color and smells the topics of your classroom-based inquiry is a valuable reward to work towards. Seeing cacti, diverse climates, and new environments. Exploring the heritage and history of iconic American landmarks. Trying strange foods and conversing with new people. Looking at two very different giant holes in the ground. These tie together the academic and real-life experience in a way that hopefully you can carry with you when you leave this school. For a wider school community, although the premise of the cross-curricular class is simple, the overarching product is something far more complex and personal to the learning and growth of each student. And in a minute here, we're going to invite you to look at some of their work and maybe talk with them, if you'd like, about what they learned. Thank you.